ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। So here, as we see, the chapter itself is called Entanglement in Fruitive Activities. How the living entity becomes completely entangled in action and reaction, especially fruitive activities. Even though one may avoid sinful activities, one may avoid going to the hellish life, nevertheless, one does not become liberated from cycle of birth and death. So such a person was described that he is pious and he worships especially his forefathers, and he worships the other devatas. His interest is Traivargika. He is not interested in liberation from this world. He is only interested in Dharma, Artha and Kama. So he is performing Dharma, but for Artha and satisfying his material desires. So, what is the final result of such a person is described. Even in Bhagavad Gita also, we find same kind of description. So here, why Lord Kapila is describing this is so that we can understand why should we waste our time in material economic upliftment, performing religious activities only for the sake of maintenance of this body, gratifying our senses. Because factually, the result will be we may go to the higher planets by southern side as it is described in these verses. But then anyone who goes like that, he will have to come back to this material world. So that is being described here. It is said, such materialistic persons are allowed to go to the planet called Pitraloka by the southern course of the sun, but they again come back to the planet, to this planet, and take birth in their own families. Because they are too much attached to their materialistic family, they will be obliged once again to come back in this material world and again begin a new chapter. After death, we may become elevated. We go to Pitraloka, where our forefathers are there. We enjoy life for longer time in these higher planets, and then again come back. And because we are very attached to our family, we may come back to the same family and take birth. In the same dynasty, in the same family, we will come back. So, then what happens? Again he begins the same fruitive activities from birth to end of his life. And this continues. Sometimes this is compared to a ferry wheel. If you go to some fair, mela, you will find that there is a ferry wheel. We sit in that ferry wheel, it will take you up, but again bring you down. And again it will take you up, again it will bring you down. So this ferry wheel of our life will continue like this. So in the purport, Prabhupada is quoting from 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 21, which describes this destination of these worshippers of devatas or worshippers of their forefathers, or those who are interested only in performing ritualistic ceremonies for promotion to higher planets. Their destination is described in 9.21. So, we will start from seeing 9.20th verse, where Krishna begins by describing about these different worshippers of devatas. What do they gain in their life? What is the gain after worshipping these devatas? So, verse number 20, Prabhupada translates, those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. So, first important thing is to understand Krishna is differentiating direct worship from indirect worship. Direct worship is by performing pure devotional service. Indirect worship is worshipping the different devatas who are also considered to be the limbs of the Lord in this universal management, in his universal form. So this worship is indirect. So one may have a doubt. Even indirect worship is also worship of the Supreme Lord. Finally, that is what Krishna is saying. Correct? Somehow or other, they are also worshipping the Supreme Lord. Not directly, indirectly. But the result is not the same. Because factually, everything is enjoyed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether it is offered through the demigods or it is offered directly to the Supreme Lord. But there is a difference in the result which one will attain. So here, in this 20th verse, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, those who study the Vedas, but that means they have studied the Veda, but they have not understood the purpose of the Veda. What is the purpose of the Veda? Krishna says, Vedescha sarve ahameva vedya. So if they do not come to this point, but they are lost in the fruitive activities mentioned in the Vedas, they are carried away by the flowery words given in the Vedas. So, and what do? Drink the Som juice, seeking the heavenly planets. They worship me indirectly. What will happen to them? They are not sinful. They will become gradually purified. So, purified of sinful reaction, they take birth on the pious heavenly planets of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So in the higher planets, they will take birth. After giving up this body, they are promoted to heavenly planets. It may be Indraloka, it may be Chandraloka, it may be Pitraloka. to the different higher planets according to the modes of what they have worshipped. They will go there. That Krishna will describe. If they have worshipped ghost and spirit, they will go to ghost and spirit only. If they have worshipped their forefathers, they will go to their forefathers. So, in the next verse, then Krishna describes. In 21st verse, when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted. So now they have gone to higher planets. For very long time, there is no doubt, for very long time they will enjoy those heavenly pleasures. But factually, it will get over. Once their pious credits, phala, is over, they return to this mortal planet again. So in today's verse, it is said, if they were very attached to their family, they will return to the same family. But anyway, nevertheless, either to their family or some other, wherever they are born, they will come back to this mortal world again, where again they have to take birth, again they have to die. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Very simple principle. You study Veda, but your goal is only sense gratification. Result is repeated birth and death. You study Veda and you understand Krishna, and Krishna Bhagavad Gita, anyone who understands me never comes back to this material world. Correct? Janma karma cha me divyam. So if somebody understands Krishna, he will not come back. If he fails to understand Krishna and he is only hovering for different kinds of activities mentioned in the Vedic literature, he will be promoted higher, no doubt about it. He will be purified of his sinful activities. He will enjoy great pious results in heavenly life, but will have to come back to this material world for repeated birth and death. See? Okay. Now, next Krishna explains, in contrast to this, what is devotional service? So here we saw these people who worship their forefathers, who worship the Devatas, according to their pious credits, all their facilities were arranged. They'll go to heavenly planet, they will enjoy heavenly pleasures. Right? So all these were arranged as per their pious credits. And all these facilities are arranged by the different Devatas. In terms of necessities of life of these demigod worshippers, and in terms of their liberation also, if from southern side they have left, they will come back. And if they have gone from Uttarayana, from northern side, they may not come back. But of course, from there, they may go to, let us say, Brahma Jyoti, but even that is temporary. Until and unless they take to devotional service of the Lord after being liberated from this world, they will come back. So even if they go from northern direction, and that passage to Brahma Jyoti is also arranged by the Devatas. We find this, right? The different deities of sun, all these different deities in the heavenly planet, they arrange for the passage of the soul, even from the northern direction, to go up to Brahma Jyoti. So simple point to note is, in case of Devatas worshippers, their maintenance and their liberation both are arranged by these demigods, and both are temporary. Their so-called liberation, until from there they take to devotional service of the Lord, they will still come back from Brahma Jyoti, and they may be maintained by their fruitive activities, the karmas, whatever they have performed, and the result of that they enjoy in the heavenly planets, in midst of the different devatas. That is also temporary, and they will come back. In contrast to that, now Krishna explains about the result one derives from pure devotional service. How devotees maintain, how devotees liberated. So devotee, Krishna will explain, doesn't have to endeavor even for his maintenance of the body. Devotee does not have to even. This devotee does not have to worry about liberation from this material world. So in the next verse, Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah pariupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yoga shemam vahami aham. You see, Prabhupada is explaining very nicely. The devotee has no other work. He doesn't endeavor for his own maintenance. He is only endeavoring ananyas chintayanto ma. Only Supreme Personality of Godhead without any diversion. Ananyas means without any diversion. Ye jana pariupasate. Such people, Nitya Abhiyuktanam, those who are always worshipping, connected to the Supreme Lord. Their elevation, yoga, and after elevation, shema, yoga kshemam. So their elevation to the spiritual world and their maintenance, everything is taken care by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vahami aham, I carry out, I provide. See, Krishna personally provides. Later in the 12th chapter, Krishna also talks about how Krishna personally delivers his devotees. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. Others, with their severe austerities, penances, they try to be elevated, to get out. And Krishna is explaining it is very, very difficult. Those who are attached to impersonal understanding, their path is filled with difficulties. And on their own they are trying to get away from this material world. Whereas for a devotee, aham samudharta mrityu samsara, I become their swift deliverer, Prabhupada translates. Krishna swiftly transfers them from this material existence to the spiritual world. So we can see Krishna is contrasting. First, Krishna explained about the maintenance and the elevation of worshippers of devatas. And in this, Krishna is explaining about those who are attached, unalloyed, who carry out unalloyed devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then in the next verse, Krishna again brings about this point. Because our doubt may be that yes, Krishna had already told earlier, those who worship Anya Devatas, indirectly they are worshipping me. Correct? Now, question may be, so will they also achieve the same result? Krishna has become swift deliverer for the devotees who are unalloyed, who are carrying out unalloyed devotional service. He is their maintainer. So, is the same result also enjoyed by these Devata worshippers? Because indirectly they are also worshipping the Supreme Lord. So, Krishna says, no, this is avidhi purvakam. This is not according to the scriptures. This is not according to how it should have been done. This is avidhi purvakam. So, Prabhupada translates that as a wrong way. Avidhi purvakam means it's not a proper way, it's a wrong way. And the example Prabhupada gives is, when you water a plant, proper way to water the plant is to water the root. Improper way to water the plant is to water its other different limbs and not water the root. You put water on the leaf, you put water on the branches, there is no use. Proper way is to water the root. Others are wrong way. So Krishna is saying, those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in wrong way. See? And next verse, Krishna explains what they get. So they are doing it in a wrong way, even though they are worshipping the Supreme Lord, but what do they get? So Krishna says, I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Now what happens is, these Devata worshippers, they do not recognize this. This understanding never comes to these people, worshippers of Devatas. They worship the Devatas with so much faith, but they never understand, I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. See, they fall down. And Prabhupada in the purport explains, who are these people who fall down? Here it is clearly stated, there are many types of yajna performances recommended in the Vedic literature. All of them are meant for satisfying Supreme Lord. Yajna means Vishnu. In 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated, one should only work for satisfying Yajna or Vishnu. The perfectional form of human civilization known as Varnashrama Dharma is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am Supreme Master. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. Therefore, they fall down to material existence, do not achieve the desired goal of life. See? So they are not delivered. They have to fall down. Even though they actually indirectly are worshipping the Supreme Lord. But the result of their worship is only they will go to heavenly planets. That's all. But they will have to come back. So this is what Krishna is saying. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord. Although this is not pure devotion, he will thus achieve the desired result. But rather than that, even if one had material desires, better not to approach the Devatas, better worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His desires will be fulfilled and he will be purified and he will finally get back to Godhead. Then, in the next verse, Krishna explains this. Where do worshippers of different personalities go? Those who worship demigod will take birth among the demigods. Simple. They will go to Swargaloka, they will be born there. It is given here in today's shloka. They have worshipped Pitraloka, they will go to Pitraloka. Those who worship ancestors, go to the ancestor. Those who worship ghosts also and spirit will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Yanti Mam. So the shloka is Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Yanti means they will go. Where they will go? Deva Vrata. Those who have taken, those who are worshippers of Devata, they will go to Devan. Pitrin Yanti Pitravrataha. Worshippers of Pitra. Pitravrata means worshippers of Pitra. Pitriyanti, they will go to Pitraloka. Bhutani Yanti Bhutejya. And if somebody is worshipping ghost or spirit, they will take birth there. Yanti Mad Yajinopi Mam. Mad Yajino, those who are worshipping me, they will come back to me. So Krishna says that also. Then, in the next verse, because after this somebody may think that worshipping Devata, there are so many different rules and regulations one has to follow, which are given in the Vedic literature. Krishna is contrasting devotional service to the worship of Devatas. So we know worshipping of the Devatas, 3 Vedas he has to go through. The different rules and regulations of worshipping the different demigod he has to follow. And then finally he may go back to those Devata. But Krishna is explaining worshipping me is very simple. Nothing is required. Very simple. Anyone can do. Devata worship everybody cannot do. They have to go through the Vedic literature, follow the different rules and regulations. But devotional service is very simple. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Yo me bhaktya prayachati, Tadaham bhakti uprahatam ashnami priyatatmanaha. Just with devotion, if somebody offers me even Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, just some tulsi leaves, water, some flower, some fruits, and main important ingredient is with bhakti. Yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti uprahatam, because it is offered with devotion. Ashnami, I will accept them. So Krishna is explaining it is very simple. Devotional service is not at all difficult. Then in the next verse, further Krishna explains the glories of devotional service. He says actually what is required, you don't require to change your activities. Give up sinful activities, but otherwise you don't require to change your activities. Whatever you are doing, whatever you are eating, whatever tapasya you are planning to perform, whatever yajna you are planning to perform, do it for me as an offering to me. That's all. See how simple it is. Offering wise only Krishna is saying just give me flower, fruits, that is more than enough. And you don't require to change your activities. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushu madarpanam. Simply offer them unto me. See? And then, again in the next shloka, Krishna explains what will happen in this way. Immediately he will become free from all bondages. In this way you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. See? Whereas in this Devata worship, He is not free from auspicious. Okay, he'll get some auspicious results. He'll go to heavenly planet. Right? But here, by doing everything for Krishna, one becomes free from bondage of work. No more bondage to the fruits of the results he is going to get of that work. With your mind fixed on me, on this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So you are freed from bondage, you are liberated, and you will come back to me. Then, after this, in the next verses, Krishna explains that even though I am equal to all, but anyone who renders devotional service unto me, I am friend to them. That means even though Krishna is saying I am equal, I am still partial to my devotees. Krishna says this, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. See? So this is an exclusive position of a devotee of the Lord. Then, in the next, Krishna further explains. Somebody may say, oh, what happens if a devotee has strayed away from devotional service? He has become abominable. He has committed some sinful activity. Krishna is saying, does not matter. Even if somebody has strayed away from devotional service, if his mind is fixed on me, very soon he will become free from those sinful activities. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. And in the next verse, Krishna explains that how it happens, why he should be considered saintly. Somebody may question, isn't it? Shipram bhavati dharmatma, because he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly, my devotee never perishes. Krishna will safeguard the interest of his devotees. Krishna will hold his hand, pull him back to devotional service. That we see even in the life of Ajamila, right? We see in the life of Bharat Maharaj. Even if they strayed away, very quickly they became situated in the right path. And then, finally, in the last few verses, Krishna is telling that anyone can take shelter of me. No qualification required. Not that one has to be Brahmana, one has to be very learned, no. Or one has to be sannyasi, no. All these are material qualification. For worshipping the Supreme Lord, none of these material qualifications are necessary. O son of Pratha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, Shudras can attain supreme destination. Even they can attain supreme destination. And then if Krishna is saying if lower birth people can attain supreme destination, what to talk about if they have taken birth in good families? If somebody is born in Shuchi family, in Brahmana family, what to talk about them? How much more is so for the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and saintly kings? Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. This is the conclusion Krishna is saying. And then that famous verse of 9th chapter, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So we can see very clearly Krishna distinguishes between the destiny and the destiny of pure devotional service, anyone who performs, and the destiny of worshippers of different devatas, and even the process itself, how much difficult the process of different, whether it is jnana or yoga or the devata worships, whereas devotional service to the Supreme Lord is very, very simple, and the result is the Supreme Lord personally guides, takes care of his devotees. So we'll stop with this. Okay, one question. Huh?
Anybody who follows the principles of Krishna consciousness and doesn't contribute to the mission, just like he chants, he reads, and no contribution to the mission, then is it considered devotional service or what is it?
It's a devotional service, but he is on a neophyte platform. See, on neophyte platform, one is only thinking about himself. When one becomes a little bit more advanced, especially when he comes to the platform of Madhyama Adhikari, then he knows not only me, I should spread this Krishna consciousness for the benefits of others. So we should not definitely remain neophyte all our life, only thinking about ourselves, isn't it? So we should take part in the mission of the Supreme Lord. And when one takes part in the mission of the Supreme Lord, Krishna says he becomes very dear to me. When we apply in our life, and in the end of this 18th chapter, Krishna says, anyone who gives this knowledge to others, he becomes very, very dear to me. So there is no doubt, there is a difference. Even though he is also devotee, but he is a devotee on the lower platform, Prakarta Bhakta. His worship is still on material platform. He recognizes the Supreme Lord, but he does not know how to respect even other devotees. All these symptoms will be there. And he is worshipping the Supreme Lord with some material benefits in his mind. Like that. Whereas when one goes to a higher planets, he not only worships the Supreme Lord, he knows how to relate to other living entities. He knows how to relate to other God brothers, to other advanced devotees. So all these are very crystal clear for him when he has become more advanced.
But sometimes we may find that traces of spirituality out of his past habits or out of circumstances. He may tend to engage in the
Yes.
Then will it be a or will be again Krishna again?
Okay. See, if we have taken to the right path, and if we have taken bona fide spiritual master, there is no doubt, if we follow his instructions, we will go back to Godhead. It may be delayed. Sometimes, just like Prabhupada used to say, don't make your spiritual master to come back, to again take you back to the spiritual world. Make this lifetime as your final, last. Rather than thinking, anyway, my spiritual master has taken my responsibility, he will come back again. There is no doubt the spiritual master is very compassionate. He will come back to take the living entities, his disciples, back. But a disciple does not think like this. That is not his mentality. So even though devotee may become astrayed in fruitive activities, but because he is following the words of the spiritual master, chanting his prescribed number of rounds, he will definitely become purified. So slowly, once he is purified, then definitely he will come back to his senses and understand that I have to go back to Godhead. And until and unless he cultivates that desire that I want to go back to Godhead, Krishna will again give him chance to be born in this material world. We can go back only when we are completely purified. So it may take time, but we are on the right path. Even if somebody is having fruity mentality.
There is no question of turning to other side. One other day, even if it is delayed, it will come back.
Until and unless he associates with non-devotees, goes away from the path, becomes an impersonalist, very rare. You will not find devotees becoming impersonalists. You will only find impersonalists becoming devotees. No one can give up the taste what he has achieved in devotional service and take to impersonal method. That is very rare. But definitely, if one commits offenses to devotees, then it is very risky for him. Vaishnava Aparad, that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, one should avoid Vaishnava Aparad. Yes, very much. Krishna takes Vaishnava Aparad more seriously than ordinary material sins. It is a fact. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद।